Hi travelers, Tara here. This is going to be the first open reading for August 2019. Um, I'm not exactly sure when I'll be able to bring you another reading, so this is going to be the last one for a minute. I start moving my stuff in tomorrow. Website members, I had promised you 12 general readings for the month of August. Unfortunately, I cannot do that. I don't have the time. Um, I started working on the what do you call it? I started working on the readings, and then I went through this thing over the past 3 days with the homeowner's insurance for the house. I had a company, we did the payment, they issued the policy, and then the following day they said, nope, we can't do it because of the age of the house. So then they sent me to someone else. Then I had to, and I'm double checking because I don't want no crappy ass policy. Excuse my language. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people that like for my crap to be paid for and insured. So, so that took up a whole bunch of my time, in addition to the fact that I just discovered some weird ass clause in my apartment lease in terms of moving out. So I am trying to um, resolve that issue as well. So I apologize for that. I really do. I was talking to Nicole over at Angelic Healing and Therapy, and you can find her channel on YouTube. It's called Angelic Healing and Therapy, and her connection with the angels is really quite breathtaking. The information that she comes back with is really quite breathtaking. So if you may be interested in that, she does a lot of healing work. So if you may be interested in that, you can find her channel on YouTube. Again, that's called Angelic Healing and Therapy. Um, but I was talking to her. She occasionally, out of the blue, we will contact each other and exchange readings. And so she was doing a reading for me, and I was telling her, I was like, oh my God, I feel so guilty that I haven't brought any content or anything for what seems like 2 months now for members of the website. I know you guys are paying for it. Some of you depend on some of the information that I bring out, and I just feel so guilty. And she's like, well, you need to stop feeling guilty because I'm sure they understand that, you're going through something. It's a major thing, buying a house and moving. And I'm like, yeah. I said, they've been great, but, I just have that feeling of guilt, like I'm letting you guys down. And so, um, so my apologies for that. Really, I don't, that's something I'm gonna have to work on, releasing those feelings of guilt, because you guys know that I'm not slacking on the job. You know what I mean? I'm actually doing something else. So I really want to thank you guys for being patient, and all of you that have been sending me emails for congratulations on the house. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. One other thing that I'm going to impart on you before I get into the reading. Uh, Equifax, okay, the 3 credit reporting bureaus here in the United States, and you know that you can't buy a damn stick of gum on credit if something's jacked up on your credit report, right? Well, Equifax has just did a settlement. So if you want to go to see if your data has been impacted, grab a pencil and write this down. Do a Google search for the Equifax breach settlement. The actual title is Equifax breach settlement home. Okay. Click on that link, and then they're going to ask you to put in your last name and the last 6 digits of your social security number. That's going to pop up and tell you whether or not your data was affected, whether your information was breached. I just did mine. So yes, my data was breached. So they give you 2 options. You can either check to receive free credit monitoring. I can't even say that word, for all 3 bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Okay. Or you can opt to get $125. Now, let me explain. If you opt for the cash payment, you're going to be required to show documents of where you've spent time researching that information, police reports, um, any type of lawyer fees or legal fees that you've had to pay out of pocket in order to clear your name and clear your credit. If you don't choose that option of the 125 cash, you don't have to provide any documentation, because what they're going to do is give you 1 year of credit monitoring for Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And then after that year ends, you get 6 more years of free credit monitoring through Equifax. Now, anybody who's gone through identity theft, or where their credit or their social security number has been stolen, and you've spent all of that time and all of that money, gathering documents, doing X, doing Y, and your credit's been really damaged, that $125 really doesn't compare to all of the pain, the frustration, the headache that you've gone through. And in a way, if you choose that option, you're kind of selling yourself short. And what I mean by that is, if you compare that $125 cash payment, all right, to 7 years of credit monitoring, when each bureau charges anywhere between $13 a month to $29 a month, that's going to be your better deal, right? No, it doesn't make up for those of you who may have been affected in a way in which, you've lost your name, you've lost your reputation, your credit score has gone to pot. Okay. But, I just think it's a better value. Of course, you'll have to make the best decision for yourself, but $125 ain't shit compared to the amount of money they make, right? So that ain't nothing compared to that. And there's no way, you can't take the $125 and recoup all of the losses you had if you had to pay lawyers or go to court or do investigations or print out a whole bunch of stuff, get stamps and envelopes. That doesn't cover anything. It doesn't cover any of your expenses, and it certainly doesn't cover your pain and emotional distress. So make the choice that's best for you. Maybe some of you could use that $125 payment. I don't know. But frankly, I think it would be, the option that I chose was the credit monitoring, because I don't think we should have to pay to have our credit monitored. I think that should be a free option offered to everybody, because that levels the playing field for everybody. Right, when you can actually access that information and see exactly what it is that they're saying about you. Another thing that you need to realize is that if you're using apps like CreditWise or Credit Karma or Credit Sesame, those are just designed, or NerdWallet or Mint, those kinds of things. Those are just meant to basically kind of give you a general idea of what your credit score is. You're not seeing your actual credit score. Typically what you'll find is that your credit score will be 25 to 50 points higher. But the thing is that most of us can't get in, or we can't afford, or maybe we don't want to pay for that credit monitoring so you can actually access it. And TransUnion is the worst. Okay, they are the worst. They report late. They have this weird voodoo math algorithm. I called them and cussed them out the other day. So, because every time I paid off something, my score dropped. And TransUnion is the only one that does that. It doesn't happen with Equifax. It doesn't happen with Experian. So I called and cussed them out. I said, didn't do no good, but it made me feel better. So, what you're seeing is a different score from what the credit bureaus actually have. And then you have to keep in mind that credit card companies, car dealerships, mortgages all have a different set of credit criteria. So what may be good enough for you to qualify for one thing may not be good enough for you to qualify for another thing. So that's why it's important to know what your real FICO score is. And I don't even think they give you the FICO score. I think that's some bullshit. I really do. I think it's a different set of numbers that they hold secret that you don't even get a chance to see. So that's just my feeling. And so now I just found out on the news the other day, anyone who banks with Capital One and or may have a Capital One credit card, they've just had a data breach. So what we need to realize is that in this day and age of the internet and devices and everything being online now, paying your bills, applying for jobs, applying for loans, all of this, and going to school, applying to go to school and putting in your financial information, everything is subject to breach. Everything is subject to breach. And so we're going to be moving into 5G pretty soon, and then that's going to, I think, create a whole different set of problems. And I also feel, and this is just I don't have any I haven't read anything. I've got nothing to back this up. But I also feel that that new GPRU, I don't even know what it's called, the thing where everybody now has to put cookies on their, the notification about cookies on the website. I also think that that is just an accident waiting to happen. Cookies can be a backdoor way of people accessing your information. And so I think there's going to be a whole different set of issues that are going to be cropping up now with that in combination with the new 5G that's going to be coming out. That's one of the reasons I stay away from Google AdSense. You know, every week they're sending me, you got $150 in Google AdSense credit. No, I don't want the experience of going to my website and you can't even read anything because there's a billion ads all over it. And now surfing the net is not any fun anymore. It really isn't, because every time you click on a site, if you accept those cookies, they've got your tracking information. You know, so it's gotten to the point now where I really don't even surf the net unless I absolutely have to. If I absolutely have to research something, that's the only time now that I'm surfing the net. So you want to be careful about that, what you're clicking on. Sometimes they've got the ads place where you're scrolling through and the damn thing will accidentally take you to another, you know, website. So you can go in and set your settings, do not track me. And I don't use Google Chrome. I use Firefox. Because Google has this weird thing where they track everything. You know, you go back, I have my location. I don't even keep my location on, but sometimes when I turn it back on, if I need to go somewhere and I want to get directions, if I turn it back on my device, it pulls up everything I've last looked at, the last place that I've been, even though I've had the location turned off. So these are some of the things you need to kind of pay attention to. I think it's also kind of crap that the new phones now, because a lot of people assume that if you just turn your phone off, that you can't be tracked. That's not true. The phone will still ping on towers even if it's turned off. The only way that you cannot be tracked by your cell device is if you remove the battery out of the phone, right? It can't have a source of power. But now, none of the devices you're able to take the batteries out of, right? So if you got to go commit a crime, leave your phone at home. So, okay. So that's those things. So check into to see if your data's been breached. For any of you who are trying to clean up your credit, or you want to get a handle on what's happening with your credit, you can check to see if at least it's been breached with Equifax and you have some kind of remedy so that you can watch it going forward. Another thing is, you're also able to check to see if you have children, any of their data has been breached. Okay. So you just simply type in their last name and the last 6 of their social security number, and it will tell you whether your kids' data has been breached. Some of us, my daughter's a teenager. She hasn't started working yet, but if you think about it, there are lots of things where you have to give out your insurance. You have to give out social security numbers for your children, on taxes, you know, just things like that. So, you know, these are good things to know. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do this reading, and then what I'm going to do is go back over to the website and do another general reading for the website, just to give you guys something. And then after that, all of this is going to be going away. We start moving our stuff in tomorrow. Oh, Lord, y'all pray for me here. So let's go ahead and get started with this reading and see what the cards have to say. And I haven't forgotten that I was going to write that article on how do you deal with bill collectors, third-party bill collectors, okay? So just, you know, bear with me. I haven't forgotten any of the stuff that I've told you guys. You know, it's just a situation. Hi, Nicole. Here we go. 9 cards down. That Fool card. The Knight of Pentacles. Wow, that's pretty. Uh-oh. The King of Wands. So, hold on one second. I always have the news on in the background so I can see what's going on. Hold on. What are you doing? Okay. So I don't know if some of you are dealing with the king of a fire king. So this is going to be your Leo, Sagittarius, and or your Aries, or this could simply be you if you are in the process of making a deal or doing a deal or um, making an offer or accepting an offer. Wow, Seven of Pentacles. The High Priestess. Some of you are waiting on something. You're waiting on some kind of financial news. Huh. Two of Swords. Now that's interesting because I have two twos here. Now, let me continue. This is from the full moon to the first quarter moon, perhaps. The Devil. Wow. The World card. Okay, so there's some heavy Saturnian energies here. Now, let me lay the last card. And the Nine of Cups. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I have two court cards right at the top. 1, 2 coins. A cup of swords. And 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana cards. Wow. Wow. Now, the two twos. Two twos speak to partnership, harmony, the need for communications, but also the need to make a choice, a decision, being at a crossroads. I think many of you are kind of on the fence, or whomever this is talking about. You are on the fence about something. Maybe your intuition has been alerted, and you know or you recognize that something is coming, so to speak. The two Saturnian energies here, the Devil, which rules the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn, yeah, I just said that, right? Okay. And then the World card, Saturn. Two different energies, even though it's the same planet. This energy can be slow, stuck, hard work, trying, limitations, commitments, just things just being like so difficult. This energy of Saturn is saying you're about to graduate from this cycle. Whatever this thing is that you've been committed to or tied to or married to, or that's been dragging you down, or that's just been a real struggle for you. Let me see. A lot of people, when they hear about Saturn coming into play, get not frightened, but just become depressed, because, and that's the energy of Saturn. It's a depressing, heavy, burdensome kind of an energy. But if you can flip it to look at it in a manner of that it's just a test, it's just a trial, and that once you master that particular lesson, then you can move on to the next level. And that's what this card is talking about. This is really about some of you getting exactly whatever it is you wish for, but then the question becomes, are you sure that's what you want? And maybe that's what that is. Okay. Let's see what's our advice card. Look at that. So definitely there's some kind of moon thing happening here, because I have 3 representations of the moon. This could be dealing with mothers, women, intuition, secret knowledge. The Devil can be about sex, money, cars, jewelry, drinking, eating. It's a third dimensional. It's an earth element. The earth element is the physical realm, the things that you can taste, feel, see. Okay. Um, I don't know if some of you are studying for something, and because a lot of times what will happen with these Saturn transits, it's literally a graduation. So I will see when people graduate with their medical degree or their PhD or their nursing program, or okay, some kind of degree or certification kind of a thing. She is not only a student, but she's a teacher um, as well. She has access to, she holds the keys to the library, so to speak. She herself is a font and a wealth of information, but she's also gathering more information through her intuition. She's connected to um, being able to understand the things that are happening underneath. Lately, I've been seeing the High Priestess when she kind of shows up in a healing modality. Okay. Um, but there's this period of waiting. The work has already been done. That Seven of Pentacles. And now what you're waiting on is you're waiting on uh, the fruits of that result. And some of you are not sure if that's going to pan out for you in the manner in which you perhaps hope or wish or dream. But I dare say it's that could also be the fear. Mm? And this is really just a moment of pause. It is a moment of stopping and reflecting and looking over all of the things that you've done. I don't know if you guys remember back when I was telling you, like one day I just woke up and I was in the back of the website doing some cleaning up, and I was like, holy crap, I've written almost 700 articles. I didn't even realize that, right? I've done a lot of work. I do feel that this Fool card is this idea that some of you have gotten some new kind of inspiration, some new kind of vision. And I was watching something on TV about Jihadi John the other night. And I don't know if any of you know who Jihadi John was, but he was this horrible person who, and I can't really say during the height of fighting ISIS, which is different from Al Qaeda. Okay, those are two separate groups. And what's so funny about that? The people who were in ISIS or ISIL were so crazy and so radical that the Al Qaeda people kicked them out. They're like, get the hell out of here. Y'all are crazy. So anyway, isn't that funny? I mean, it's not funny, but it's just a funny kind of a thing. But Jihadi John was the person who beheaded like 26 people. Okay. And I don't know what I was saying about Jihadi John. Maybe it'll come back to me. Oh, I don't know what I was saying about him, what I was going to bring up, but he came up because there was something that I was watching that kind of struck me about that whole particular story. Okay, and maybe it'll come back to me why I brought him up. I don't know why he just leaped out at me like that. But this to me is, oh, it had to do something with the Fool. This whole idea of a vision, that's what it was. And so there were the ingredients for the ISIS and ISIL thing to come together were these two different guys. One guy was like a warlord, okay? And so he was a really good general, strategic, tactical, good at fighting. And he had a plan, okay? That's what I was getting back to. He had a plan. And the other guy had a vision, okay? And visions and plans are two separate things. Plans are, in effect, kind of short term. What does it take for me to get from here to here? Whereas a vision is a long range kind of a view, right? It's a long, something that could take years and years and years to come to fruition, but you see it. right? Remember when I was telling you guys about, I've got this vision. And when I was talking to you about starting my website and all of the things that I want, I got a vision. So this tells me that some of you have received some kind of vision, or you have some kind of vision. Something has finally come to light for you, right? Perhaps out of the blue. This character is pretty unconventional, so this could be the idea that all of a sudden you got this wild hair up your butt to go in a different direction, because sometimes this is about uh, taking a trip or traveling, going to parts unknown, exploring things that you never explored before, right? This sometimes can be about world travel as well, okay? If not about actual traveling the world, okay, then this could be about the idea of, in effect, learning something from a new culture, travel in the mind, not always necessarily actual physical travel. For some of you, this could very well be actual physical travel. And here with the Chariot is a Cancer card. And what's interesting is I have this opposition. I have all of this big energy going on in the sign of Capricorn, which is opposite the sign of Cancer, right? The home versus the work, the personal security, emotional security versus the financial security, or security in the sense of having seniority or being entrenched in something, right? But this card says it also is about travel and movement. And we know that the Chariot card, the Chariot is a vehicle. That's what it is. But it was a vehicle of war, right? People just didn't, then at some point they became, and they weren't called chariots, they were called carriages. So there's kind of a difference. But a chariot was a war vehicle, and it allowed you to travel, but it was bumpy, it was dusty, may have taken you a long time, and it was dangerous, right? But in order for you to get in that chariot and drive it and get to wherever it was you were going, or to maintain the control over while you were out doing battle, that's what it was. You had to be in control. You had to be determined. You had to be focused. You had to be balanced. You couldn't be fearful. You couldn't be angry, because you really have to pay attention to what it is that you were doing. So this tells me that eventually, for some of you, you're going to arrive at the place where you want to arrive. Will you arrive there exactly perhaps as you thought you would, in the direction or the manner that you thought you would? No. Okay. So sometimes it's really not about the destination. It really is about the journey, right? And I think for some of you, this is the idea of getting to a particular place and then realizing, you know what? I got there. After I had to scratch, I had to fight, I done sweated, I done bled, I'm scratched up, I'm scarred up, I'm beat up, but you know what? I'm here. Now, I don't know who this King of Wands is and why he has presented himself. This is a card of movement as well. But when the Knight of Pentacles shows up, this is the slowest knight of the deck, right? But typically when he shows up in a reading, that's the news that you've been waiting on. This is the event that you have been waiting on. It has taken a long time to get there, but finally you can rejoice because the news is here, or the event is presenting itself. Now, I don't know who this King of Wands is. I don't know if it is you, in terms of whatever this thing is that you've been working on and you've been building up and you've been sweating for. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's you, or if this is actually a third party. But there's definitely at least two people involved in this, at the very least, because of these two court cards here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look. I actually have, in a sense, two sevens. And two sevens can sometimes speak to false friends, but also two sevens can speak to self-confidence issues causing problems in the relationship. Well, I don't think if this is you as a female, or you take the female energy, I don't think you're having any issues with self-confidence. If this is somebody that you're dealing with, they do. Okay? They do. But what this lets me know in the center is that at the moment, you are in a good position. Everything else is happening around this card. I do think there's a sexual component here. I don't know if this is somebody that's interested in you. Um, but maybe they haven't really shown you anything, or maybe they themselves are waiting to complete something. I don't know. So what I don't necessarily see is any cards of communication here. All right? I don't. If that is the case, this lets me know that the person hasn't forgotten about you. And maybe that's what this too is. They're not exactly sure if they should reach out or not. Don't know. So there are many things happening in this particular reading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the Seven of Pentacles, Two of Swords, and the Nine of Cups as they relate to these major arcana cards. Now, I will also tell you that sometimes there is some kind of element of if finance is involved in this. Let's see. You know, because like I said, this could be any number of things. It just depends on what you got going on in your life at the time. That's why when I tell you, if you want to get a reading from me, it's, you have to give me your birth date and your sun sign, and you have to give me the birth date and the sun sign if there's another person that you want me to read on, because what that does is it helps me pluck you out of the collective. These are general readings. So this may sound for somebody exactly like what they're going through, and for others of you, it may be pieces of it. For some of you, it may be none of you. So it depends on what you have going on in your life itself. I don't know how the cards work, but that's how they work. And okay. Seven of Pentacles with the Nine of Cups. It is an indication that now is a good time to make important decisions and make good, solid investments. Positive action taken at this time will lead to fruition of your goals and just rewards for your efforts. Ain't that what I was just telling y'all? That's what I was just telling you. For some of you, this is the idea that karmic debts are going to be coming back around to be paid, to be due you. Okay? Don't know how that's going to play out. Two of Swords. And that's a tricky card, that Two of Swords. It really is. Now, this is only telling me if it's next to the moon. I don't know. Maybe some of you might have a ill friend or an ill female. You yourself may be ill. Don't know. Okay? It's not the moon itself, but it's a representation of the moon. Maybe this is some kind of female issue for you. Don't know. It's not giving me much information. Basically, the truth of what I'm picking up is this is some kind of partnership or relationship. Don't know. The Nine of Cups never tells me anything. It's just the Nine of Cups. But cups contain things, they hold things. It is a receptive energy. It's not telling me anything. If some of you are wondering, I heard somebody going, it's a karmic connection. Well, yeah, for some of you it is. Do not always assume that when the devil comes out, it's speaking about karmic connections. In a way, yes, you cannot remove that from the equation, but sometimes it's not really as karmic as you think it is. It is a perception, because if you'll notice, those chains are quite loosely around their neck, and basically if they want to walk away from something, they can, but they are choosing to stay. Okay? This lets me know that some of you break free in some way. You know, it's this Two of Swords here. And what's odd is this card is all about liberation and freedom, and this card is all about being bound and tied up. And in between that, what do I do? What do I do? Isn't that funny? Well, I'm trying to ascertain what cards I should use. Give me 1 second here. No, not that one. Because honestly, to me, this doesn't read like a romantic situation. That's not to take that off the table or out of the equation. There's only one cup card here, and it falls at the end. To me, this is some kind of major life transition. And it's funny to me that how this King of Wands has presented himself. Past, present, future, past, present, future. So if this is somebody, this fire sign male, this is somebody that you know already, or you have some kind of quote-unquote relationship with. And he's not necessarily blocking, but he's watching this approach. He's watching this thing culminate. Now he's also showing up in the future column. So it's almost to me like the cards are saying, right when things are changing, or right after the change happens, this person is going to present himself. But he's not going to know, I think, what to make of what you've done, or he's not sure if he should communicate with you. I do sense that he has been keeping an eye on you in some respect, not spying, okay, not like that. Just this kind of curiosity as to what you've been doing, or watching how you've been progressing. Again, as I say, I really don't see any communication here. Let me, I want to pull cards on this King of Wands. He just sits in a funny place. Now, if this is somebody new coming in, reserve your judgment for the person. Okay, be cautious. Trust what your instincts are telling you. Don't jump the gun, so to speak. The domestico. The riunione. And the disgrazia. Now, This says to me, for some of you, the domestico is somebody who is just that. He's a domestic. He's somebody who's supposed to help you. He does things for you. He runs errands. He does things for you, right? But he can also be known as a collaborator. So he's kind of, is he doing it really for, is he doing it to really help me, or what is he trying to get out of it for himself? Or is he doing something for someone else and not telling me? He's working behind the scenes with somebody. Don't know. Riunione means that, the meeting. Okay. And that can also be in the context of a job interview. And then we see the disgrazia. The disgrazia is just that. It's an extremely misfortunate event. It is the house on fire. This is embarrassment. It's like the tower card of these Sibila cards. So I'm not exactly sure if this is somebody coming back. There's a meeting, or you met somebody, and it didn't go the way that perhaps anybody thought that it would. Just unfortunate. Maybe it was the timing. Yeah. But we can also see that this person themselves are waiting on the harvest to come in. They've been putting in some work. Yeah? But if you're showing up as the High Priestess, you have a very important role here. You know that old saying of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear? That kind of a thing. Two of Swords. The Morte. The Fortuna. And the Sacerdote. Unbeknownst, perhaps to him, this cycle, this separation, complete and utter separation from this situation and this person, has really come in effect like a blessing in disguise. It has changed something on all levels for everyone involved in this situation. Fortuna. Now, I don't know if this is the single man, and we have two representations of that with the domestico, because sometimes he can be the man returning, right? But this is also about somebody that you can put your faith and your trust in. This is a counselor. This is a priest. This is somebody that you can talk to. But at the same time, supposedly this guy is single, right? Priests are not allowed to get married. But at the same time, in the olden days, they had mistresses, they had children, they had vices. So this could also be the idea that somebody will present themselves to you again, but again, there's some things about them that you don't know. I don't know if this is a rebirth for this King of Wands. This is the only death card, but it looks to me as if whatever's been happening with him, okay, his shit's been kind of jank. Okay, it's really been kind of jank. And I don't think that, in effect, that really you had anything to do with that. This could be the idea of paths crossing at a time when just things, the ingredients weren't right. And this is some kind of jank crap for this guy, right? Maybe it is to do with maybe other women that he's been dealing with, right? But it looks as though he comes out of it. Now, I don't know if what the cards are trying to tell me is that he comes out of it, he's going to come back around, and he's going to be like, yay, you know, now I'm ready, we can get together. Maybe so. Maybe this is just the idea that he's putting all of this stuff behind him, right? I don't know. I still feel as though he's been keeping tabs on you in some way. Maybe, you hear from him out of the blue every once in a while. He may text or contact. I just don't see any communications here. I'm going to take a look at this Devil card. The falsita. The hidden intentions and the lies. The yardro. The thief. Theft of goods or services. And the Lamante, male lover. Well, isn't that interesting? I think the person thinks that there's somebody else there. Somebody has come in and stolen you. That's the prize. Somebody is coming in. I also think, remember I said there were some kind of financial issues happening here? That may be so. And I think the person is, they haven't forgotten. They haven't forgotten you. But I think they're operating under the idea that maybe you're already taken. Don't know. I'm going to pull maybe he did. While y'all were out doing your own things, your separate thing, maybe he did. He met up with some skank and she jacked him up over his money. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is the idea that sometimes, people think grass is greener on the other side. They don't want to make that commitment to you for whatever reason, so they go off and try to make a commitment to somebody else, and it's the worst thing that ever happened to them. Don't know. But what I do believe is that you've just been going on with your thing, and in which case you've been doing the right thing. A pleasant pastime. Surprise. And a delay. Yeah, everybody's been going out doing their own thing, right? And sometimes that's what the devil is about. It's about indulging ourselves. You know what I mean? Doing those things, whether it's dancing or exercising or eating food or drinking or all of those third-dimensional physical things, tasting, touching. It could be sex, it could be drinking, it could be drugs, it could be anything, right? And then surprise. Suddenly there's something released, but there's this delay, and that's kind of what this is saying to me. So something is going to be moving forward or trying to be moving forward. Now, whether everybody really gets what they want, don't know. You know what I mean? The Nine of Cups can be a tricky card to interpret sometimes. Do you get your wish, or does he get his wish? And does that wish come exactly the way that you wanted it to? It says that something's going to come to fruition, and something positive is going to come out of it, but it may not be exactly what you think it is. And it's kind of funny because we go from just blindly going on our way to suddenly really getting in tune with everything. And maybe that's what the wish is about. Maybe you finally feel like who you are supposed to be at this point. Make sense? Maybe you finally recognize who you are. I'm going to pull cards on all three of these. Jack of Clubs. 10 of Hearts. 6 of Hearts. And that's funny because that Jack is like the Page and the Knight of Wands on top of a King of Wands, yeah? That 6 of Hearts can be this idea of not knowing who to love, being fickle. 10 of Spades. Now, as we can see, 10s are changing energy. So we see something has ended. It shows up here. 4 of Clubs. Queen of Wands. Of Clubs. Well, I don't know. That Four of Clubs can sometimes be the idea of some kind of jealousy with surrounding some kind of work issue or the doing of something, jealousy. Don't know. Wow. Six of Clubs. Look at that. Two of Hearts. And the Five of Clubs. So there's a lot of fire energy in this. And basically, I think this is what's happening for him. Let's go to the Jack of Clubs. We're speaking about an admirer. This is why I say this is somebody that you already know. This is somebody maybe that you just like, whatever, you know, things didn't go right. Maybe they weren't able to commit. Maybe they were wishy-washy. Maybe they themselves were working on something and you're like, well, okay, that's cool. And you go ahead and do your own thing, right? Popular, good-hearted, playful can also indicate an admirer. I don't think this person has forgotten you. I do not. It says good luck and success. It suggests that good fortune after a difficulty. Well, but whatever that good fortune was, it like maybe went up in flames. I don't know. This says this is a good someone who takes care of you and has a warm interest in you. I've also seen this sometimes show up when it says that there's a bit of fickleness about the situation. Spades, 10 of. Worry and bad news. Look at that. Then the Four of Clubs comes out. It says, beware of dishonesty or deceit or avoid blind acceptance of others at this time. Surprise. Huh? The Queen of Clubs. It says dark-haired, confident woman, somebody with fire predominating her chart. And the fact that this queen has shown up over here in this future column, okay, with these three cards, I think this is the idea that this individual is leaving the scene. Whatever this thing is that's over, it's over. Six of Clubs, it says financial news or good success. Well, we see that shit didn't turn out the way it was supposed to, right? In this type of relationship here, with the Two of Hearts, a warm partnership or engagement, favorable strength and support coming from a partner, but then it goes down to this five. It says obstacles that are temporary. It really is a blessing in disguise. It speaks of oppositions. It indicates, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. It says new friendships and alliances are made. So to me, something is coming. Something is happening. I don't know if you yourself have, I don't feel that you have been really giving this person or this situation much thought. I think you've been doing what you've been doing. Coming into your own, recognizing who you are. You've been working on your own karmic things that you're trying to move on to the next level. And in one respect, that could also be you in that way, right? Let's pull cards on this High Priestess because she sits in the center of everything. And basically, I just kind of get the sense that you know exactly, perhaps maybe for the first time, where you are, where you're going, and what you want to do. In which case, congratulations. That's a huge lesson. Amore, leggerezza, sospiri. Well, well, well. Amore is just that. It is love. Leggerezza. This is the idea of a changing sensitivity. It is about tact. It is about diplomacy. And then the sospiri, the longing, the sighing, the waiting. I'm waiting for my ship to come in. So in one respect, I honestly get the sense that maybe love is something that you wanted. But now you've gotten to a point, or you reached a point, or you just gone ahead and focused on the things that you could focus on for yourself. Put your time and your energy into that. Um, maybe you've been discreetly or kindly turning away relationships, something like that. But you have not lost the longing of having that relationship. But you're getting, it's like it goes back to the Cancer and the Capricorn. One side of your life is flourishing and the other side is kind of meh, right? But that is going to change. Now, in terms of whoever this King of Wands is, I don't got no clue. This could be somebody that you meet in the context of your business. I honestly feel that you know this person. Maybe your paths have crossed. Maybe it was years ago, okay? All right? But now it looks as though it went to pot in the past. Maybe this person has had some other jacked up crap going on while the two of you are apart. But it really appears to me as though you're going to meet this person again. Now, whether that means that you're going to get a second chance or a second opportunity, don't know. But what I can definitely say is that the energy around this situation is going to be different than it was before. And if this is a business deal, the circumstances will be different than the way they were before. Make sense? Well, congratulations for you. Really. Because that that's huge. Particularly if you've been able to tap into really who you are. Right? So I'm going to pull an angel answer and a romance angel card on this. So formulate your question. Man, that's a long ass read, but this is going to have to last y'all a minute, so. Okay. You know, it's kind of like that thing of where things bad have happened to you in the past, and then suddenly Fortuna comes out, that Wheel of Fortune, and what seems like a really, really bad thing before turns out really, like it said, to be a blessing in disguise. I mean, really. And that's a final no. Now, I don't know what you was asking. Romance angels. That's a final no. That's the no with the exclamation point. So I don't know what you were asking. Ready? can't even read that. That shit just gave me the chills. Okay. It did. It just gave me the chills. The big ass no. The response to your inquiry is a firm no. You needn't worry, though, as you will see why this was the perfect answer as time goes by. Remember I said, like it blew the hell up. But it really turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Calling in your soulmate. Wow, let's look at this. You, like everyone, have soulmates. There are people with whom you share time in heaven and in other lives. Let me read that again. These are the people with whom you've shared time in heaven and in other lives. You made a soul agreement to meet in this lifetime for the purpose of mutual spiritual growth. And you have many such agreements with various people who are all your soulmates. So for those of you who've been walking around in the delusion like this person, male or female, excuse me, that just ain't no damn good for you, but you just like, oh, but they're my soulmate. Okay, you've been delusional, and that's okay, because I think now you're seeing the light. Let me read it again. You made a soul agreement to meet in this lifetime for the purpose of mutual spiritual growth. You have many such agreements with various people who are all your soulmates. These include friends, family members, co-workers, and romantic partners. This card guides you to actively call your romantic soulmate into your life. You can do so through prayer, affirmations, and visualizations. But it also means working on yourself so that you epitomize the qualities that you are seeking in a partner. For instance, if you desire a significant other who has a great sense of humor, then this is something you should develop within yourself. Like attracts like, which is part of calling in your soulmate. Now, the flip side of that is, yes, like attracts like. But if you are operating on your own from a shadow place, then that soulmate, that person, that situation you've been dealing with that ain't been nothing but grief, okay, you've attracted that in. So as I say, I feel that whatever this situation is about, and whomever recognizes parts of this story or what have you, I think you have gotten to a place now where you're going to be making a major shift for your life. And once whatever that thing is, or it's done, or it's over, or whatever the case may be, you're going to be ready then to call in. And it could just be somebody from your past comes back. Okay? So, you know, or it could be someone who's on their own healing journey. I do sense that you guys know each other, that you met before. But as I said, doesn't necessarily mean that you're meant to be together. You know, and to look at that more closely requires a personal reading. So that's what I have for you. I hope that's enough to kind of tide you through until I can get all situated in my new place. That doesn't mean that I don't have time to do a reading. I just, you know, personal reading if you need one. I'm always ready to throw down cards for somebody if they need it. I do it in the grocery store. I carry my cards with me. I throw down cards anywhere. So that doesn't mean that. But just in terms of me doing big major stuff, I'm not going to have time to do that. So with that being said, until next time, I hope to see you very, very soon. Namaste.